Welcome to Momivate Conversations on Win-Win Women platform, where we women gather to care, connect, and collaborate. Truly a win-win for us all. It's always our goal to keep calm and mom on. I am your hostess, Regan Barnes. I am a mom of 8 and founder of the nonprofit organization Momivate. We empower you to elevate your mothering experience. We are so glad to have you here with us, Mom, and we welcome you into the Momivate community, or Mom Unity, as we like to say. We are moms united in our passion to create a better world. Join us and become a Mom Unity member. It's free on our website, momivate.org, and together we'll constructively evolve motherhood into the 21st century, meeting the needs of our children while elevating our mothering experiences. Here at Momivate, we answer the question, what do moms do? With this uplifting statement, moms raise up society. Not just our own children, but all of society, including ourselves, are benefited by the work we do, as this acronym describes. Today, I'll be doing a Momologue and focusing on the schedules and systems category of this acronym. And we'll even get more narrow and dig into the specific subcategory of mealtime. So this is not going to be about menus, interestingly. Instead, we are going to talk about everything that goes on in the kitchen, because often that's quite a large portion of our day. Our children's stomachs just don't stay full. So as we are always trying to meet the need of keeping them from getting hangry, we have to really coordinate and think through and schedule and plan. And we're always trying to make the best of all the different appetites that are in the household. And a lot of this really requires some forethought and other considerations that we want to take into play, including nutrition. Of course, that's really the ultimate goal of all of the eating that we do, is trying to make sure that it's the kind of food that is worth it, that's nutrient dense, and so each calorie will count towards our well-being. So I also can say that spending a reasonable amount of time in the kitchen can be a fantastic way to save money, but it really relies on the organizational aspect of it. So Momivate has put together what we call a kitchen kit, and I just want to invite all of you to reach out and request our kitchen kit. It's got several things in it. I'm going to go through quite a bit of it here in our Momologue, but what it really will entail, if you were to download it, is a short and simple way to understand balanced nutrition. So some concepts that make it easy to plan meals, as well as to teach our children these concepts of as they grow up and determine what to be eating on their own. There's also this idea of certain principles that we can use in our kitchen and teach to the whole family. I post them on my fridge, that these principles can help us reduce food waste. It can help the other members of the family become conscientious kitchen participants. And it'll, I think, make the kitchen a place of togetherness, of enjoying our time together there in the kitchen. So some more ideas that would be included if you do reach out and request this. The opportunity will be on our website. When you go to our website, you click under Momversations and find this one under our archives, and that will give you the chance to request the kitchen kit. So it'll include a printable planner for weekly dinner planning. And this particular one is made for families that have older teens. We want to give those teens the opportunity to be more interactive participants in the whole aspect of meal planning, because that's something they need to take with them as they move on from the nest, so to speak. So it's a way for them to show what their preferences are, to sign up and offer to make a meal, and things like that. So of course, we'll include other practical tips for the dinner planning aspect of things that can be kind of overwhelming. So we have ideas that help you discover and rotate your family's favorite recipes based on the season of the year. And hopefully that will help them not get so tired of the same old, same old. We also have a list of ideas to increase the family's intake of fruits and vegetables. So these are sometimes overlooked as ways to increase our overall well-being, but really it has quite the impact on our mental health as well as our physical health. So, and then of course, we always have the goal of getting our kids to help in the kitchen. And so we'll cover a system that makes it less of a chore on both ends and giving us more of a chance to use the kitchen as a place to connect and work together and create positive attitudes and happy eating habits. Now, I know that the internet offers a zillion different ways to try to be nutritious, and many of those ways even conflict with each other. It can be kind of confusing. And it gets overwhelming to hear about all those health fads and trends. And I heard someone say, is keto just another way to pronounce Cheeto? Does gluten-free mean my glutes will go away? But jokes aside, many of us really do want to take our health more seriously by eating better. But with so many of those mixed messages, we aren't really sure what that means. So here at Momivate, we have just simplified the nutrition down to some time-honored basics that are neither fads nor extremism. So we teach you to categorize your food into just 3 categories: proteins, grains, and fruits and vegetables. Now, if you just are able to take any food that you're interested in eating and figure out which of those categories it fits into, hopefully it'll keep you from going crazy from all of those various headlines that try to teach you how to change your eating habits. Just move forward with confidence that you really are doing the best you can for your body and your baby's body, whether in utero or as they are growing. And you're meeting those very basic needs. And when it comes to proteins, understanding the purpose of them really helps as you decide what you want to eat. So these are proteins are basic building blocks of our brain and our muscles. And the healthiest proteins are plant-based. So beans, seeds, nuts, whole grains have some protein too. Then we have some that are animal proteins like dairy and eggs, and vegetarians, for instance, will eat these because they still often allow the animal to stay alive. And then of course, there's meat as a protein. So beef, pork, chicken, fish, and you know, these are where the animal's life was sacrificed. But eating mostly plant-based proteins really will lead to optimum health. And it's helpful to know that you don't necessarily have to be 100% vegetarian, but just keeping the percentage rather low. Like we only eat meat in 20% of our meals, for instance, is one idea. So when you do eat food from animals, I recommend doing it with gratitude, acknowledging that that animal lost its life for your sake, and just don't be excessive with it. Our bodies and our brains do need a healthy amount of high quality fat. And so when we choose to eat high quality proteins, such as legumes and nuts and white meat, in general, we'll get the right amount and the right kind of fat to be healthy. Now with grains, whole grains really fill our tummies nicely and provide positive long-term energy levels. You might sometimes hear people kind of get hard on themselves for eating carbs, but there are carbs of different levels of quality. And by choosing whole grains, that's going to give you the higher quality carbs. And as a bonus, whole grains often have protein in them as well. So avoid those processed grains. They are things like white flour and pasta. They do tend to lead to overeating. They spike our sugar levels and then we end up crashing. Starches also fit into this category for the sake of simplicity, because they share some of these traits of satiating our hunger. And we do have to be cautious because they can be transformed into sugar within our systems. Don't we have amazing systems that can transform things? All right, now we're to the produce. This is our third category. This is the fruits and vegetables. And we want you to think a lot more about the vegetables. Try to really increase the amount of vegetables. These prevent and fight disease, anywhere from colds to cancer. These also, fruits and vegetables, have fiber. And this helps our digestive systems flow. And we really need to do that. Our systems were made to not get constipated and stopped up. And often that's what you can think of if you are suffering those problems is, am I getting enough fresh fruits and vegetables? They provide us with a lot of energy. And this is the kind that our bodies need for the day in and day out to try to be vibrant. And it's really interesting to realize it's way down on the cellular level that is happening. And, because those fruits and vegetables have those essential vitamins and minerals that keep us healthy and fit, including mentally healthy, not just physically healthy. So a balanced meal consists of all three of these categories, either separately or mixed together like a nice casserole. If you just have one category, that only counts as a snack. And as I teach my kids this, I like to just include it as part of everyday life. So I might just walk in the kitchen and notice they're having cereal for breakfast. And so I'll say, ooh, that's a grain, and the milk on it is a protein. So what fruit will you have so that it's a complete meal? When I set out a welcome home snack after school, I'll say, oh, here's some sliced apples and some peanut butter. So that's your fruit and a nice protein, and that'll help you get through the next few hours before dinner, So this is like a form of repetition, which of course motherhood is repetition. And this like creates little ruts in their brains so that they'll automatically think about all three parts of the meal, even when they're out on their own. This is an often overlooked skill in our world of fast food and packaged, processed, quick snacks. Eating balanced meals has proven to contribute to mental health as well as physical. So that's an added reason to just cement those good attitudes towards good foods. So go ahead and brainstorm a list of the common things that your family eats and really be conscientious about where they fit in the categories. So granola bars are an example. They're mostly a grain, right, with the oatmeal, but they can count as a protein too if it's whole grains and if there's nuts in them. Crackers, toast, rice, cereal are grains. And of course, most of them are offered either as whole grains or not. So just make a conscious effort to make most of them whole. Yogurt, beans, eggs are some great proteins. Cheese, fruits and veggies are so numerous, though not in every household, since fresh produce can be expensive. So included in this discussion will be some ways to increase our intake of these vital foods. They really were created for a higher quality of life and a longer life too. Sometimes a child will ask me, so Mom, is chocolate a grain? Or what is ketchup? So of course we can let them know that there are other categories of food that aren't necessary for our body's well-being. So there is a category of desserts, or there is a category of flavorings, and we still enjoy them as part of our normal intake, but we simplify down to the 3 categories that are really going to build our bodies. So as I mentioned, we have principles that we run our kitchen by, and I try to help our family be aware of these so that they know kind of how to manage a kitchen. So one of them is to use up what needs to be used up. For instance, fresh produce, or if they're pulling a canned good out of the cupboard, check the expiration date of those couple of cans right there at the front and use the one that's going to expire sooner. Or if there's 2 gallons of milk in the fridge, use the one that has that expiration date sooner. Okay, this next one is to eat what you store and store what you eat. So we all need to have a couple of months worth of storage just because it makes sense for whatever is going to happen out in the world. If we have a couple of months worth in our cupboards, we can have a little more peace of mind. So buying in bulk is another way to save money as far as that goes. And then we can rotate through what we have stored in our cupboards and kind of shop from our own pantries. One of our principles my kids really love is to look at the colors and try to have a whole rainbow of natural colors, and keeping our foods whole in this way by eating according to the rainbow. We also like to ask ourselves, can we tell where this food came from by looking at it? Or has it been so far processed that you can't even tell where it came from? Can you pronounce the ingredient list and know what it means? Another kitchen principle is if you haven't planned dinner for the whole week, which is the ideal, then be sure to plan it by 10 a.m. And that really is helpful. I hate the feeling at 4:30 p.m. to feel like, oh no, I don't know what I'm gonna make for dinner. So I've trained my brain that even if I don't get around to that whole week's worth of planning, I at least plan it by 10 a.m. Including the children is another one of our kitchen principles. We want to include them in the planning, in the preparing, in the cleanup, as much as possible. Include the kitchen, even though that can be a hard one because the kitchen feels like my territory. So I have to kind of open up and invite those kids in and include them. Now, saving time and energy is as simple as what we call planned overs, as opposed to calling them leftovers, because leftovers have kind of a bad reputation. So we plan a larger meal, and it does save us time and energy and possibly even money. We can send those planned overs with Daddy to work for his lunches, serve him for lunch here at home. We can freeze them so that there's a dinner already made for a busy night. Now, overall, attitude really matters. We really need to put effort into enjoying the time that we have together in the kitchen. And that can require an attitude check. So we have that as one of our kitchen principles, is to choose a good attitude. So we're going to go through now to planning practical tips. I really recommend holding an initial brainstorm session with your family. Ask them what meals they enjoy and what they look forward to, and they know what's on the menu. And ask them too what they don't mind eating, even if it's not real high on their list. I highly recommend you avoid words like what's your favorite or what's yummy, and instead discuss it as like a range of flavors and textures and styles that might appeal to them. So words like Mexican, do you like Mexican food? And then you have a category of options that you can choose from. Chinese food, Italian, other things are, do you like it when the food is smooth? Do you like it when it's crunchy? Do you like it when it's greasy? Saucy? You know, there's just a variety of ways to describe the foods. And you can discuss specific things that might help, especially with vegetables and like methods of preparing them that they prefer. Give them a chance to mention things that are not appetizing, but ask them to rate it. Say, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being so bad it makes you vomit, and 10 being so good it puts you in a trance of delight, you know, and have them rate the different things so that you really understand how important it is to them to not have mushrooms or whatever it is, you know. But make a goal of coming away from this brainstorming session with at least 10 to 12 meals that they have specified, and explain that you'll use these as basics and include other recipes, of course, over the course of the month. And don't worry about doing this every month. You'll notice your family's palate maturing and needing a wider variety. And when the seasons are changing, feel free to host another brainstorm session. Now, if your children are under the age of 6 or so, they may not be able to contribute very effectively, but still try to include them. Definitely include your husband, and maybe even call his mom and ask what she remembers as far as meals he seemed to enjoy growing up. Of course, you might have very different styles of cooking and goals or needs in terms of nutrition, but you can still learn and respect and then adjust accordingly. So consider which restaurants you would frequent if you were inclined to spend your money that way, and which items on their menu are worth duplicating, and then look for copycat recipes on the internet. If you are upgrading your diet to be higher in plant-based foods, or if you need to go gluten-free, many of the copycat recipes offer ways to make these and other types of adjustments. Now, use a blank calendar. There's not even a need for it to be the correct year. You just want a bunch of empty squares in week-long increments and 4 sets of month-long spaces. Your goal is to create a set of meals that you can repeat for 3 months at a time, and then switch to the next set of 3 months. And this coincides with the change of seasons. So your set of autumn and winter recipes will likely be warm things like soups and casseroles and roasted vegetable medleys on a sheet pan. These, offer comfort on a cold day, and When you think of serving them in the summer, you just feel stuffy and sweaty just at the thought. So your set of spring recipes will likely overlap with some winter and some summer, and that's totally fine. So in spring, you'll still have some soups and casseroles, but you'll also introduce more salads like fruit salad, pasta salad, bean salads. Since the days are getting warmer and things are becoming more available and less expensive as that growing season progresses. Summer will include light, cool offerings like salad wraps, sandwiches. Sometimes you'll want to, barbecue or something, but more often you'll have cold things, maybe tuna salad on croissants, that kind of thing. We have enjoyed dipping dinners where we set out a variety of crackers and finger food vegetables, and then a few different dips and sauces, and just eat enough to not feel hungry. Heat naturally decreases hunger, so we don't always need a huge meal in the summertime. And of course, encourage drinking lots of water to help offset the heat. As you segue back to the autumn recipes, you'll discover several flavors that seem to lend naturally to the feeling of harvest. So apple, pumpkin, other squash, turkey, bean-based soups like chili, pilaf, and crock pot dishes. So back to that blank calendar, at the top of each column, write a keyword that will guide your meal choices. So keywords might be a pasta column, or international, or potatoes, or soups and salads. If you are a meat-eating family, you could have a beef night or a fish night. A rice and beans is a good column. We even have a column for leftovers. So whatever themes you've come up with as you did that brainstorming for the appetites. And this way you don't end up serving chicken 3 nights a week or forgetting to use your cheap and healthy proteins. And then, just go through and start filling in some of the blanks, get out some of those recipe books and flip through them and find some things that will fit that in. So we like to include meals that have some degree of choice. So for instance, we have taco, nacho, burrito bar pretty much every month because it can have so many options. We have another style of dinner called train wrecks or Hawaiian haystacks. And it's basically rice with a variety of toppings to choose from, all covered in a yummy gravy. A sandwich bar, waffle bar is another idea. So we also encourage our family members to take on an attitude of gratitude. So when we serve a meal that includes ingredients that another family member likes, but maybe I don't, then we practice focusing on the flavors we do enjoy and not fussing about the ones that we don't. And we can even feel happy for the other person who gets to have that flavor that they love. I highly recommend that you make good use of the margins in your recipe books. Use Post-it notes to indicate where your favorite recipes are. Just write on the page things like which family members did or didn't like it, adjustments that you made and whether they worked, whether it got used up as leftovers or just stayed in the fridge until it was like science fair material. What vegetable paired well with the entree and that sort of thing. All right, well, we have used up our time here on our Win-Win Women show. I'm going to start sharing the slides to end things, but I want to remind you that we have more in our kitchen kit. And so please do go to our website and click on the tab about Momversations and find this one in the archives because you will want your own kitchen kit. And as you've been listening, hopefully you have been writing things down and able to to carry on and make an action plan, just like these gears indicate. Writing it down is like that first gear getting going, and it will lead to more changes in your actual behavior. Yes, one movement leads to another. So I just want to thank you for joining us here and listening to my Momologue. And I want to encourage you, if you were here live, fantastic. And if you were watching it as a recording, please come and watch live every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. And this way you can participate in the second hour, where we continue the conversation, but unrecorded, so that we can include you in the discussion. That's how Win Win Women TV is unique. We care, we connect, we collaborate.